one, I just wanted to show you guys how simple it is to create a stencil. I'm actually going to show you guys how to do this one right here that says Merry Christmas, which was used without any of the Cricut subscribed membership deals. Didn't have to pay for anything. So let's go ahead and start a new project. I have the Cricut Design Space already loaded up. As you guys can see, we're going to go ahead and do new project. So first, what I typically like doing, I'm going to apply this on a wood board. So right now my wood board is a 12 by 12. So what I like to do is I just like to add a square shape. That way I know kind of what I'm working with and have the right parameters for that. So my wood board is going to be 12 by 12 actually. It's a little bit smaller, but that's going to work. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. So first, I actually found this image, which was kind of like a leaf wreath, which I found on Google. I just Googled leaf wreaths and stuff, which is going to be this one. I'm going to insert that. So let's make this a little bit bigger. We're going to go ahead and unlock this image. That way we can stretch it out however we like. If it's still locked, as you can see, we can only do so much to it. So we're going to go ahead and unlock that. And we're going to stretch it out to about how big we want it to be. It really just depends on what you're trying to achieve. I really want to cover most of the board, so I'm just going to try and center that as much as possible. So I kind of like that there. Then I'm going to go ahead and add some text on here. So let's actually do Mary. Oops, if I can spell. We'll do that one first. Don't really like that font per se, so let's take a look at some of the other ones. I like to use system fonts. I rarely buy anything from Cricut. I just don't think it's really worth it. Some of the fonts that I do have, like the cursive ones, I did find on the font. Or you can also Google any specific fonts that you see. So for that one, let's see. Let's use the Abril. Let's see how that looks. Let's stretch that out. We're going to unlock that. Let's try a different one. Let's see. Where was it? I just saw this one right here. Oops. What we can do too, so that way we can prevent that from happening, we can just group those, or group that by holding the shift and then the square behind it. Go ahead and group that for now. As you can see, we do lose our lettering, but we're just going to move that forward by clicking this arrange. Move forward, and there we go. Just going to position this a little bit over here. Some of these I really like, but I just wish they were a little bit more bold, and some you can bold them up more, but usually the ones that are downloaded, you do have some less options you can work with. So a nice thing you can also do if you ever want to get something a little bit more bold, let me zoom in here. What I like doing is, so we have that box. If we click duplicate, we're just going to put that right over, and as you can see, it makes a difference in how thick it is. So maybe let's do one more layer, and we're actually going to weld those so that way it's one piece. Click on that again and click duplicate, and then we're going to position that over it again as close as possible, so that way you can't really tell that it's been overlapped. As you can kind of see, the Y, it's a little bit more noticeable there, but it's a little bit thicker. Again, this is just a stencil, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And we're going to weld those together. So let's zoom out now. We're going to position that right here in the middle. You can always do, let's see, click the shift, and you can do a line. So we can do right in the center, do something like that, or, you know, move it around wherever you want to. And we're gonna make that a little bit smaller, maybe around that. And for the Christmas, I want to add something more nice, something cursive. Right now, I'm really, really loving these kind of flowy cursive fonts. This one, let's look at another one. Let's try, let's see, we can try Magnolia Sky. This one's nice, and as you guys can see, this is kind of ungrouped right now. It's not together like it would be regular cursive. But what you can do to fix that, there's two ways you can do that. You can come up here where it says letter space, and we can click this little down arrow, and as you can see, the letters start to kind of move together, and it looks a little bit more nice and cohesive. But I just don't kind of like the fact that the C and the H are so close. So the other option we can do, let's see, let's space that out a little bit more so that way the C and the H aren't touching as much. We can do advanced, ungroup letters, and now I can actually move the letters, make them bigger if I want to, if I want specific ones to stand out, whatever you guys want. So here, I'm actually going to move these so that way it looks a little bit nicer. Again, you can position them however you like. You can even make them bigger. Really up to what kind of style you're trying to achieve. So this S, see if I move it too close, it kind of touches on top there. So let's see if we can actually, yeah, let's do that. Make it a little bit wider. And then we're gonna do the same thing with this I. Make that longer. And then closer together. And then this, again, doesn't have to be perfect. And kind of put it as close as possible. And if you don't want these to move around, since you already got them, we can just group those two. Move that over. Looks like I got to move it a little bit more. Let's do that right there. The C I'm not really fond of. So because we ungroup them, we can actually add a C, and we can always change that to a different one. Let's see if there's any other nicer C's. Oops, what's going on? I think this one here at the bottom that I have, which is called Honeyland Demo. Let's try that one out. This one's a little bit more cursive, but it's not as thick. Let's look at another one. Again, you can always go to thefont.com or Google any fonts that you really like. Let's see this one. Again, that's kind of just pretty simple. And again, you want to make this kind of to the style that you like. And the good thing about Cricut is that you can alter your lettering as well. So I really like this C. So again, I'm going to do the same thing as we did with the Mary. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that and see if I can just make it a little bit more thicker. Let's see, let's just position that little by little. Yeah, let's do one more. I'm going to go ahead and weld and click on the C, duplicate. See, it's a little bit better there. It's not as thin as the other one. And I'm going to go ahead and weld. So I'm going to click on this old one. I am going to click the X, and we can either leave it like that. Maybe I'll make it just a little bit smaller. Put that close to the H there. Maybe I'll move that a little bit down. Reposition these again. Oops. Let's see. And we can leave it like that. So now that you have your finished product, or at least this part, once you get to your however you like it, if that's the way you want to leave it, we're going to go ahead and highlight this Christmas. And to prevent these letters from cutting out individually, because as of right now, as you guys can see, these are all individual cuts. So to prevent that, we're going to go ahead and I like to first attach, then weld. So instead of having each individual, now these are all welded together. So when it cuts it, it's going to cut it together with no separations or anything like that. So now we're going to position that right over here. And we're just going to adjust it to whatever size we want it. And again, like I said, you can use different fonts, the same fonts, anything you like. So now, since this we're just using for our size of the board that we're using, or at least that I'm using, I'm going to go ahead and ungroup that. And again, I'm going to click on this back. And we're going to delete this or press the X here. So we can move this, whatever you like. And then now what we're going to do, we're going to highlight everything. And we're going to attach. And then just weld one last time. So now this is all one. I can make it bigger, smaller, move it around, and it's going to be all together. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and print this. And what I like doing for stencils, I highly recommend using vinyl and then cutting it out, putting it on your surface, and kind of going from there. But it is very simple. You can get as creative as you like. It's not difficult. You don't have to pay. You can just Google search the desired image that you like and kind of go from there. Well, I hope this was helpful. I'm going to go ahead and make a part 2 video of me actually applying this to my wood board so that way you guys can know how the application works from a stencil to the actual surface. So stay tuned. Let me know if there's anything else you would like to see. If you do, comment down below. Thank you. Bye.